Okay guys, welcome to this video where we are looking at sketching cubic graphs, okay, based on the curves and information that we're given. So this is an AS pure mathematics topic, so it's year 1 pure maths, okay, and I got this, I believe, from the Edexcel pure year 1 textbook, okay. Now, as ever, guys, feel free to obviously pause the video, okay, try and attempt the questions or question, okay, or maybe wait for me to do the first example and then pause and try the second one, okay, once you're happy with the method, okay, and then come back and press play and check your answers, okay, along with me. But if it's completely new to you, then please do take some notes, okay, for today's video. Okay, so a little disclaimer, guys. Yeah, obviously, yeah, I'm just doing like a sketch today or sketches. So obviously, I'm not gonna be actually plotting them properly. Okay, so making sure, yeah, that you're happy with obviously how to sketch a cubic graph. Okay. So, question number 1A. Sketch the following curves and indicate clearly the points of intersection with the axes. Okay, so number 1A. So I've got the factorized component, okay, x minus 3, x minus 2, and x plus 1. Now, if I set y equal to 0, that's where it crosses on the x-axis, okay? So it's setting that cubic equation, that factorized cubic equal to 0, and you're finding the three solutions. So when y is equal to 0, that's the x-axis, okay, so that's the line y equals 0 if we're not sure, which is the x-axis, and then the y-axis is when x is equal to 0, okay. So solving the first equation, so the roots will be 3, 2, and minus 1, okay, so 3, 2, and minus 1, okay. Now, where it crosses on the y-axis, that's when x equals 0. So you have minus 3 times minus 2 times positive 1 gives me positive 6, okay? So it crosses at 6, it crosses at negative 1, 2, and 3, okay? So that's setting each bracket equal to 0 and just solving a linear equation, okay, from GCSE like level maths, okay? So again, sketching this roughly, okay, again, it's a rough sketch, okay? Apologies if it's not like a brilliant sketch, okay, something like that. For the first one, okay, so it looks something like that, okay. So again, it crosses the x-axis at minus 1, 2, and 3, and it crosses the y-axis at 6, okay. The y-axis is when x equals 0, the x-axis is when y equals 0, okay, for this one, okay. Right, so that one's been done, guys, okay, so let's just cross off, okay, we'll just try and cross off these rather than keep sketching it again, okay. So again, the next one, okay. So, part B, again, when y is equal to 0, that's the x-axis. Solving the equation, so the first bracket will be x equals 1, and then you've got minus 2 and minus 3. Okay, so your solutions when y equals 0 are x is negative 3, negative 2, and positive 1. Okay, again, where it crosses on the y-axis, where you have when x equals 0, so you have negative 1 times positive 2 is negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. Okay, so that's my answer there for that one. Okay, and again, a rough sketch. It looks something like this. Okay, it's a freehand drawing. Okay, and that's my solution for that, guys. Okay. The next one, again, let's just try and keep that the same, okay, without having to delete it every time, okay. So, for part C, your solutions this time will be when x is negative 1, x is negative 2, and when x is negative 3 is where it crosses on the x-axis. So let's just delete this cross here if we can without deleting the line. Oops. Okay. And then it crosses the y-axis at positive 6, okay? So it's going to look something like this, guys, okay? It didn't quite go through it there, actually, but that's fine, okay? It's a rough sketch, so I'll try it again, okay? Oh, okay, that's fine, so something like that for part C, okay? So it crosses the y-axis at 6, at minus 1, minus 2, and minus 3 on the x-axis, okay? So hopefully it's making sense so far. For part D, again, so solving the equations, you have x equals -1, x equals 1, and x equals -3. So let's just keep those two there and just delete that little cross there. So it crosses it +1 for that one, -1 there, and then -3 there. Okay, when y is equal to 0. Okay, and then it crosses the y-axis at 3, okay, instead of 6. Okay, so we will just actually keep it and then just obviously ignore that one there. Okay, for that. Okay, I think I might have made a mistake here, guys. I apologize. So on the y-axis, so the solutions are -1 for the first bracket, 1, and then -3. Okay, but when x equals 0, I have 1 times 3, which gives me +3. Okay, but it's a negative cubic here, so that means it's going to look something slightly more different, which is what I mean. So a negative cubic here, so it's going to look something like this rather than that, okay, because it's got that -x's, so it's going to be like a negative cubic, okay. So this time, yeah, for part D, it's a negative cubic, okay. That, okay. So apologies for making any confusion here or anything not there. Okay, for part D, I have like a negative cubic, hence why it didn't like plot properly or sketch properly. Okay, because of that. For part E, again, solving the equations respectively, when y equals 0, I get x equals 2, 3, and 4. So again, but this time again, it's a negative cubic again. Okay, so we'll start here actually, and then the y value will be +24. Okay, so it crosses at 2, 3, and 4, guys. Okay, apologies for any like jerkiness here or any like slow. So it looks something like this. Okay, as like a rough sketch. Okay, for that one. Okay, for part F, okay, the solutions for part F will be when x equals 0, x equals 2, or x equals -1, for where it crosses on the x-axis, or x-axis. Okay. So it crosses at 0, -1, and 2. And again, it's a positive cubic, so again, it's going to look like this. This time it crosses the y-axis at the origin, because when x is 0, this number will be 0. Okay, so 0 times that bracket there will make this equal to 0 on the y-axis. Okay, so it crosses at 0, -1, and 2 for that. Okay, for part G, again, I've got a positive cubic. It crosses at 0, -1, and 1. So let's just change that to that. So it looks like this as a rough sketch. Okay, again, it crosses the y-axis at 0 because when x equals 0, okay, y equals 0. Okay. For part H, I've got a negative cubic because of this 1 minus x here. Okay, the roots are exactly the same, however, it's going in the opposite direction, so it's going to look like this. Okay, it's a negative cubic. Okay, it crosses 0, -1, and 1 when you set each bracket equal to 0. Remember that when y equals 0, that's the x-axis. Okay, remember that from today's lesson. When y equals 0, that's the x-axis, and when x equals 0, that's the y-axis. Okay, for that. Okay. For part I, again, setting this bracket, or these three brackets equal to 0, I get x equals 2, x equals a half, or x equals minus a half. It's a positive cubic graph. So it crosses at 2, crosses at 2, a half and minus a half. Okay, so again, it's a rough sketch. Okay, so it crosses at 2 there. Okay, let's just delete that cross so we're not getting confused. Crosses at 2, a half, a negative a half when you set each bracket equal to 0 and you solve the equation. And then it crosses the y-axis when x equals 0, minus 2 times minus 1 is positive 2, times that 1 is going to be positive 2. Okay, so it looks something like that, guys. Okay, again, it's a rough sketch for part G. Okay, that one. And this last one, okay, I'll do like a separate drawing. Okay, it crosses at 0, a half, and negative 3 on the x-axis when you set the brackets equal to 0 and you solve each bracket equaling to 0 separately. Okay, remember that the x-axis is the line y equals 0 and the y-axis is the line x equals 0. So you have, it crosses at 0, okay, it crosses at a half, and then it crosses at minus 3. Okay, and again, it will look like this as a rough sketch, guys. Okay, for that. Okay, so it crosses at 0, minus 3 and a half. Okay, for that. And then it crosses the y-axis at 0, because when x equals 0, y equals 0. Okay, and you can check your answers by subbing in those values. Okay. Right, guys, that's the end of today's video looking at AS Pure Maths, sketching cubics in factorized form. Okay, we will look at a separate video now on cubics that need factorization. Okay, because of course exams won't just be like a factorized cubic. Okay, so we'll look at a bit of like polynomial division, yeah, and comparing coefficients. Okay, and look at like the factor theorem, yeah, about solving cubic equations. Okay, but if you found this useful, please like, please comment, please share, and please subscribe. And I'll see you all inside the next video. Okay, bye for now.